And welcome once again to the Sonya Dungee podcast, episode number 146, y'all. Yes, I said episode 146, and it is sponsored by Always Destined for Greatness LLC and the Sonya Dungee podcast, where conversation is always the essence of the soul. I am your host, Sonya Dungee, and I am so very excited. And yes, we are going to bring the heat to the YouTube, to the Facebook, and to the IG streets tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining. It means the world to me. I apologize for my lateness, but we just got off an amazing masterclass where we learned 5 strategies to build resilience and walk into the life that you desire. It was actually to step into the life that you desire. So we were running a little bit behind, but I knew that you guys would be right here waiting for us tonight. And so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I want you to welcome our special guest. And in doing so, in the comments, please let us know if you are getting value. Throw out that V. If you are able to relate to something, give us a relate or an R. If you had a breakthrough or aha moment, let us know about that as well. For those of you who don't know who I am, if you're tuning in for the first time, I thank you so much for that. And basically, in a nutshell, without taking too much of your time, again, my name is Sonya Dungee, and I am a transformation coach. And I help those that are struggling in resilience and struggling in life hardships, struggling in that grief, go from suffering in silence and feeling stuck with no direction and no end in sight to becoming resilient and empowered with an attitude of expectation and of excellence, so that they can be destined for their greatness, for their very best, and walk in their true purpose. So that's what I do. Super excited about that. I welcome all of you again. And without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Connie Korbalik. Okay, I'm going to read this because she has an amazing bio. She does so many wonderful things. She is phenomenal, and I don't want to forget a thing. So excuse me for reading it, but I am proudly reading this. Connie Korbalik is a resilient leader, reinvention advocate, and believer in the power of becoming a unicorn, y'all. Unicorn in your career, someone rare, unmistakable, and unshakably authentic. With over 15 years of cross-industry experience, she's earned a reputation for turning setbacks into stepping stones. Love that. A military child with deep roots in adaptability, Connie's path has been anything but linear, from career upheavals to personal loss, including a house fire, chronic illness, and identity crisis fueled by being misunderstood and mislabeled. She's faced the kind of grief that doesn't always come with sympathy cards. Her story is a masterclass in grit and grace. It's a testament to what happens when you keep showing up, even when everything around you says give in. Her story is layered. No, I'm sorry. Wait a second. I missed something along the way. I don't want to do that. One moment. It's a testament. Okay. Her story is a master class in grit and grace. It's a testimony. It's a testament to what happens when you keep showing up, even when everything around you says give in. Connie believes our scars, seen or unseen, aren't signs of weakness, but proof of the strength it takes to keep becoming. Yes. Today, she's a voice of hope for anyone navigating identity, following career reinvention, and the messy, beautiful process of rising after life unravels. Her story is layered, her lessons hard won, and she's here to remind us reinvention isn't a moment, it's a mindset. So I'm so excited that she said yes and that she waited and that she's here, and I'm going to bring her backstage. And so let's give her a warm welcome in the chat. Hello, Miss Connie. Welcome to the Sonya Dungee podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I am so honored to be on your podcast. I mean, you are just the queen of resilience. So I'm honored just as much as you are. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And something else that I did share and I've never done this before. Okay. Just a quick backdrop per se. So Connie and I had been talking, and we talked for hours, and it was a great conversation that we had, and some emails went back and forth, and it's all happened the very day that I asked her to come on and be our special guest, and she actually came up. I didn't even have to do the work. That's why it doesn't even say the Sonya podcast, honey. This is all you. Special guest Connie Korbalek. She came up with what we were going to talk about, and I don't script. Anybody who knows me, I don't script. But she was just like, "Oh, we can talk about this." I like late at night, she sent me this wonderful email, and she's like, and I have it, mind you, I have it, and I printed it out on purpose, and I thought it was so amazing that I had to give her props. But she sent me this email, and she was like, I have this idea, we can talk about it. I'm like, great. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So we are going to talk about resilience. We're going to talk about bouncing back. We're going to talk about a lot of things. And actually, I want you to lead tonight. Okay. So, but the first question that I'm going to ask you is, besides what I've already said about you, who is Connie Korbalek? Please let us know.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm one of the oldest siblings of two. I'm a dog mom to my German Shepherd, whose name is Sherlock. His nose gets him in trouble. My little investigator of everything. But let's see, outside of that, I am an outdoor enthusiast. I love kayaking and fishing, kind of being an angler. I've never really been like the mama's girl. I've been like the tomboy who likes to fish and shoot guns and all that kind of stuff. Just be out in the woods and in nature. So outside of that, I kind of do a little photography as a hobby. I just enjoy capturing life in certain angles. That angle that you see from someone when their guard is down and they're naturally themselves, capturing that, you really see the essence of who someone is. And that's when like everyone's beautiful soul just comes out. And I love being able to capture that. That's really when you see the heart of someone. I know we're kind of talking about like the heart of resilience and stuff, but I love being able to capture that in photography too. So I'm a writer. I've done some poetry that's actually been published. Writing is how I express myself when I don't have words to do that. That's it, I guess. Yeah.
Girl, that's a lot. That is a lot. Wow. I didn't even know those things. I mean, I haven't known you for a long time, but I feel like I've known you for a long time. So we clicked, and we set that in stone when we had our conversation and whatnot. And I told you, you're like my sister now. So
that's fantastic. I love it. Right there with you.
I can now say, everybody, I got a unicorn in my family.
Yes, absolutely. And you are such a unicorn as well. Yes, I love it.
Thank you. And before we go any further, I just wanted to acknowledge some of the comments that are being left for us. There's people that are joining us that for the very first time, like people that I even known. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are in for a special treat. We have people saying, welcome, Connie. Let's go, Queens. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your comments. Keep them going. Don't stop. All right. So now that we know a little bit, and that's just a little bit, into your life, I want everybody to know that, and we're going to talk further about it, but Connie has her own podcast. And even though it's somewhat new, I want you guys, I really recommend that you all join her, and I'm going to allow her to talk a little bit more about that in depth. But I have to tell you that when she speaks, she commands her audience, and you got to pay attention because I don't want to, I want you to go back and listen to the previous episodes, but I'm going to have my little makeshift thing here. Let me find something makeshift that make it make sense. Okay. So kind of uses props. Okay. This is my boat. Okay. The girl's talking, and and she got it going on, and I'm paying attention. Next thing I know, I see this old-fashioned boat coming along like this, and she's got the waves going, and I'm visualizing everything that she's talking about. And it was amazing the way that she's able to articulate and tell her story, and you're just captivated in it, and you could like visualize, and if you don't dare to visualize, she's going to make you visualize with the boats going and the waves crashing and all the other great things. So I want to give you kudos to that, because that is such a great way of being able to relate, where we can actually see and visualize as you're going along. So your grandfather's boat did well.
Awesome. I'm so glad you got value from that and you were able to picture it with the visuals. Man, my grandfather was a wonderful individual, and he always collected ships. And maybe it's part of him kind of visiting me in the inspiration, but actually, I'll tell you a little tidbit. I woke up at 2 a.m. and that visual hit me, and I started jotting things down in my iPhone notes app, just like, oh my gosh, like this is inspiration. I need to jot it down. And I thought about my grandpa's ships that I have. He passed away several years ago. And I was able to, my grandma let me have his ships. And so I have 3 of them in my home, and they're just a fond reminder of him and who he is. And I feel like that episode was him just, visiting me and giving me the inspiration to communicate to those how, basically kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit, but, for me, just in my podcast, my mission is really just to support individuals as they navigate career loss, job changes. I've, rebuilt my career multiple times from the bottom up, and it's been a challenge to not have a path or a roadmap of what do I do next? What's my next steps? And so I really feel passionate just about helping those just coming from the corporate world, especially in today's landscape. Having a roadmap or tools and resources on how to navigate job loss, career changes, and just find their resilience and know that even if they're in the in-between of roles, that they have value. It's just about uncovering it, discovering it, and really putting that out there. And how you articulate your story is really what brings the value to the world, and you have to do that successfully.
Do you see what I mean? I'm telling you, she can articulate. She talks fast just like I do. So, we're here. But your message is amazing. And I truly believe that your grandfather had a definite part in that specific podcast, and utilizing his boats to give us that visualization, and for it to really be able to resonate, and be able to give forth that value that we so richly need, and helping us become resilient in 2025. So thank you so much for that. So I'm reading, and I normally don't, but keeping it 100, me, I actually print it out. I mean, I normally have little notes here or there, or in my head, or maybe a card, but I had the whole thing printed out here, because you promised, so we have to deliver. Okay. You said together we're going to bring top shelf conversation on resilience through life's grief, not just the kind that comes from loss, but the grief of identity shifts, unexpected detours, and dreams that didn't go as planned. And you told everybody you don't want to miss this powerful episode, so we got to deliver. So let's get it started. So let's start where let's start talking about resilience when it comes to grief. And pretty much everybody has heard my story. I spoke a little bit about it in the start today. My reason for being here on the Sonya Dungee podcast is because my dad unexpectedly, on January 23rd, 2021, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on a Saturday, at the VA hospital in Northport, New York, I held my dad's left hand, screaming and hollering and not wanting this to happen. I knew the inevitable was there because I had to tell them that it's okay for him to let go, but I didn't want to. I mean, at some point, now that I'm talking and thinking it through, and this is the first time I'm even saying this, I shared some things earlier that I've never said before, but sometimes things just comes to your heart. And just now it just came to me in the middle of me screaming and hollering and holding my dad's hand and watching that tear come down his cheek. And I was telling him, no, no. And then I remember now, it just came to me saying, it's okay, daddy, to let go. It's okay. Because we knew the inevitable was going to happen, even though we don't want it. We're not God. We don't make the final decision. Even doctors don't. Because not even 48 hours, there was a doctor that I've never met before. I think it might have been a doctor. I hope that it was a doctor, somebody that I had to refrain from being less than my true being. And I've come a long way in personal development. I can say that from where I was. Um, he said, my dad had 6 months to live. And I said, what the for sheezy? Like, where did that come from? Like, what are you talking about? Nobody was mentioned that before, and not even 48 hours, not even 48 hours. I was holding my dad's hand. He had machine that was still allowing him to be present. But I just, for the first time, it really came to me that I told my dad it's okay to let go, and I had to be the one to tell them to go ahead. And that put me in a really bad place for a really long time, and I was stuck. I was hiding. I was not my true self. I was broken, and there's no true diagram. There's nothing, there's no book that's written that says ABCD, follow this, you'll be out of grief by tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. So let's talk about that aspect. Let's talk about the resilience through life's grief. How do we become resilient after something like that? How did you become resilient after the traumatic things that happened in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I can resonate with just your, traditional grief and passing of family members. I had three major significant deaths within about an 18-month period in my life. And you talk about, being in dark places in your podcast, and I can resonate with that. Like, I've also been there. But coming out of that, I had to take and assess what about this situation can I be grateful for? And I've always tried to look at life through that grateful lens. As difficult as it is, even in pain and grief and loss, I had to stop and think, well, what did I learn from this individual? What did they leave? What's their legacy on my life? And when I started to really reflect on their legacy, what I learned from them, what they taught me, the things that they instilled in me and impressed on my life, when I focused on that, that became the positive things to shift me forward, to pull me out of those dark places. And I was able to remember them in like a fond way and process that. You said something in your podcast, not in your podcast, but in your masterclass today, that really, just struck home and reminded me of that. You said, in our resilience, you have to find that resilience, cultivate a positive outlook. And that's really what I did in that aspect. But like you mentioned, I've been through grief that doesn't come with the condolences cards. Like, I've been through a lot of transition and upheaval, and grief isn't just tied to death, right? For me, I had a mourning of identity, of dreams, and a version of myself that, you get out of high school and college and you think, okay, point A, point B, I have my degree, I'm going to get this job and, buy the house and have the cars and the family and all that kind of stuff. That's the expectation, but it's not always like that. And grief can have many masks in that retrospect, I guess. And so I'll tie that kind of, I don't know if this is where you wanted me to mention or not, but I'll tie that into
No,
just
go
my
ahead.
story. But I carried grief just through my career transitions. My identity was a lot of times tied to who I was or my job title. And
Mm.
in 2013, I was working for a telecom company, and we got notice in July that in January we would be laid off. I had been there for 5 years, so because of my time there, I'd have a severance check if I could just make it to January. In August and September, just with the stress of it, it was a nationwide layoff, a complete corporate restructuring. So not only, was I losing my job, but 2,200 people total were losing their jobs. So that was just like devastation in and of itself. Like, okay, I'm here and I still have a job to do until January, but the stress of the management team caused me to kind of be in a toxic environment. And sometimes resilience looks like quitting before you break, right? I had to choose my mental health over, a pretty significant severance check. I had to choose that over not knowing what was next. Going, I can't continue to stay here. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be torn down and belittled and felt, it just dreading going into work every day. So walking away from that, I, managed to interview and land another job, but this was in a brand new industry, something that I had no experience on other than some customer service skills. And jumping into that, I was fearful. Like, I've never done this before. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to give it my best bet. Like, I'm going to choose my heart and go all in anyway. And doing that, I found some footing, but I was still in the process of grieving. Like, well, I was doing so well in telecom and I was like being paid well and I had a good, I was still dwelling on that, like staring at the door had already closed. Like, I'm in a new role and just like still lost. And that was difficult. I had to focus on, okay, how can what am I grateful for in this opportunity, right? It's a new opportunity for me. And I talked about it in one of my podcast episodes, but a couple years prior to that, I had walked through a house fire. My parents had left out of town and I was staying back for college to study for an exam and kind of watch the house while they were gone. And I left to go get a study guide so I've never been the type to just pass a test. I have to study really hard. Just really, really study. And with that, I went to get a study guide. It was starting to storm. I was like, I want to get back home before the storm hits. And I didn't make it home before I got a call from my dad on my phone. And he's like, hey, where are you? I was like, I'm on my way home. He's like, well, get home as fast as you can. The house is on fire. I'm like, it's storming and raining and lightning. Like, how on fire is the house right now? It's raining. And he's like, just go straight there. And I get there and my street's all blocked off. There's like 1,000, ambulances and fire trucks, and there's all kinds of water shooting on my house. And I was just flabbergasted. Like, in a matter of a millisecond, my everything I owned was just gone. If something wasn't water damaged or smoke damaged or fire damaged, it was just gone. Like, I had lost my childhood identity. I had lost things that were momentum to me. Here I am starting all over again. But in that pain, I was able to carry that into my mortgage litigation job. And, a homeowner who isn't able to pay their bills and they're behind on their mortgage, they know that. They don't want to answer the phone. They don't want to cooperate. But it was through that experience that I was able to find common ground and bond with them and say, hey, look, I know your life changed in an instant and it's just something you're trying to recover from. I've had the same thing happen to me. Okay, let's work together. Let's get through this. Let's find a solution that best fits you. So while that experience caused me so much pain and so much grief, God used it and turned it into a method for me to bond and help homeowners through their trials, through their struggles, and give them a little resilience forward through their circumstances. And as I look back, like, I'm so grateful for that. But in the moment, it was painful, just so painful.
Let me tell you, God is amazing and he does amazing things. And I truly believe in that. Proverbs 3, 5, 6 it all day, every day. And things like that does make us resilient. If it doesn't break us, it makes us resilient. And that just proves the type of person that you are. And as you said, and my condolences in going through that, and I had a house fire, but not like that. It was only in the kitchen, and just the having to go through all of that, and then the smoke and the soot and getting on the kids and all. I mean, and that was just a little bit. I mean, you lost everything, and you didn't allow for that to just break you, and like you said, who the heck wants to answer the telephone when they know they're behind in their bills? I don't. I used to, sure, me, if I owed a bill, I was I wasn't answering the phone. And now it says spam, so you don't know what is it, what isn't. But if I didn't know that number, I was answering. And you're able to turn that and be able to relate and call people and help them through that. Girl, that by itself is amazing. I told you, you're phenomenal. You are a unicorn for sure. God bless you. God bless you.
Yep. Well, to add to that
Yes.
story, I'd be in that role for about 9 months before another corporate restructuring would happen for a large bank. I won't name them, but Fortune 100 company. You probably have a checking account with them today. So they restructured. And so within, actually it was like 18 months, I would have been laid off again. So laid off twice in less than 18 months. And I was like, oh my gosh, Connie, you didn't learn from the first one. Like, how did you think you were going to be stable and successful in mortgage litigation? And I'm like, God, why is this happening? Oh my gosh. Well, to make matters worse, I had given notice on a lease that I would not be renewing. Like, me and my husband had planned to move, be closer to my job at the time, closer for him because we were commuting a little bit. And it's like, oh, well, this apartment's better and cheaper and closer, so we'll spend less. And all of a sudden, like, I'm the breadwinner, and I find out, oh snap, in 60 days, I'm losing my job again. And it's like, okay, well, now what? So, hey, apartment complex, hey, can we actually stay in our apartment? Oh, we've already leased it. I'm like, we have nowhere to go. So we're like, okay, we're about to be homeless in 10 days. What are we doing? So that was really where I hit rock bottom. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I graduated valedictorian in high school. I've worked really hard. I have a college degree. How are those assets, a part of me? And yet I'm about to be homeless. Like, I have nowhere to go. I might be living in my car. And then not knowing, where my next paycheck was coming from. Neil had his income, but together we kind of made our ends meet. So I was like, okay, well, without mine, what I don't know where our next meal's coming from. Who's going to buy groceries next week? Like, I really just started spiraling. And, after that, I ended up, me and my husband, begging my mother-in-law, hey, can we move in just to get back on our feet? And she, allowed us to move in. We put our stuff in storage. And of course, we're trying to make ends meet on the unemployment income. And that just wasn't doing it. And, some people, you said it on your masterclass, but some people are comfortable in the mess. I was not. I was not comfortable by any means. I was like, this unemployment is not making it. Like, I can't just sit here and do nothing. I got to pick myself up and do something. Well, going back to the telecom company, I reached out and they happened to be hiring for a role that I'd previously held before I got laid off. Not the same role, but one I'd held like when I first started with them. And I had so much hate and resentment in my heart that I was just like, okay, well, they're hiring. I'll just apply and see what happens. I'm like, I know I can do the job. That'll help me get back on my feet. Like, let me just take one step forward, that one stepping stone. I applied, got an email just saying, hey, like, unfortunately, you were marked non-rehirable. And I was like, excuse me, like, excuse me, non-rehirable, excuse me. So of course, the telecom company I worked for, we were union recognized. So I paid into a union when I worked there. I made a phone call. She said, Connie, give me 2 days. She made some phone calls. She calls me back, Connie, reapply. Well, come to find out, the manager that when I left, because I literally just like quit on the spot. I didn't give a 2 weeks notice when I left and went into mortgage litigation.
Oops.
You know, he was so bitter about the way I had done it that he called every manager I'd ever worked under in different regions and districts and really just drug my name through the mud. You won't believe what she did to me. Da, 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 da. And so then I was like angry and furious. Like I worked really hard to build a reputation of, who I was and the kind of work ethic I had. And not everyone knew my side of the story. And sometimes you don't get to tell that. But I was like, I'm going to swallow my pride and I'm just gonna go do it. And of course, I ended up getting the role at the other district, and I got looks. Connie, welcome back. Good to see you. Just very nonchalant, kind of like snarky comments. And at the back of my mind, I'm going, Connie, don't say anything. Like, you know what happened. They know, the story. Your name was trashed. You were dragged through the mud. But I'm like, look, I'm just here. This is a stepping stone. I have a plan and a future ahead. This is not my end all be all. I'm just here until I can find my next one. And so sometimes like resilience isn't shiny. It's swallowing your pride, letting your soul just breathe and choosing the stability over the shame. It's like, this is something stable. This is my next step. I'm doing it. I'm going hard. It's uncomfortable, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yes. And I hope everybody's taking notes and listening attentively. Sometimes you, in essence, have to take a step back to be able to take 2 steps forward. And people didn't know. And here's another parallel between the two of us that I'm union too, 29 years union. And so thank goodness for our unions in more ways than one. I don't have to tell you that, but sometimes you do have to swallow your pride. You're not kissing anybody's backside. You're doing what you need to do. She didn't go begging the boss. She went around that turkey because we all know what he did. And I hope he's listening because look at her today. Hello. just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
But thank you for that, because that's so important that it's not always grief in the aspect of somebody dying. There's so many ways of grieving and life challenges, and that was a perfect, like a primary example. But through it you shined, and you had to do what you had to do, and you did just that. You didn't just take the no and the roadblocks and leave it for that, right? That's what the resilience means. It's bouncing back after adversity. It's just keep going forward, just moving forward to be able to thrive in whatever that means. And so I'm really proud of you. And that's another similarity between the two of us, the whole telecommunication world. I kind of had somewhat of that story with a previous employer, but after like 15 months, they decided to just literally up and move. Like, here today, going tomorrow. You going to Virginia, or are we done with you now? It was one of those kind of things. So I was like, see ya.
Yeah. Yeah.
18 months in, wasn't
Yeah. You don't wake up reinvented, right? Resilience is through small, intentional acts of growth and courage. And I think courage is huge in that. Like you said, to not be comfortable in the mess, but take that discomfort and the courage within you to say, okay, what's next? I'm in the middle, or I'm in this mess, but what's next? What can I do? And sometimes looking inward, identifying those things. Okay, well, who am I? Right? A lot of times just identifying who we are, writing out those things helps us really define that and give us the skills and values to move us forward, which I talk about a little bit in my podcast too. But yeah, you mentioned in the bio about me just being a military child. My dad's retired Air Force, and so I've talked about it in my podcast. But so many people don't move as much as I did. 27 times by the age of 30, And so I went from, new neighborhoods to new churches to new schools, just over and over and over again. Some people are fine with that, right? Hey, yeah, they get into a new environment and they get to tell this new story of who they are and no one knows any different. But for me, it was like, oh God, it's Groundhog Day again. Like I get to tell who I am and make new friends all over again. But I look back now on that, and while it was difficult and I just, showed up to every new school, every new church group, just smiling, being friendly, just being a friend to others despite being the new girl. Everyone knows how the new girl is, right? You get into a new school and no one talks to you because you're the new girl. And you kind of have to work your way into friendships and stuff.
Mhm.
But that girl learn to adapt and be the new girl and be friendly and reach out and be comfortable with strangers. I could talk to anybody. I could strike up conversation with anybody. That adversity built a friendliness, a resilience, a bubbliness in me to be able to make friends swiftly. There are books written on, winning friends and influencing people. Psh, I did not need a book. Okay. I had to wing it. But, growing up, I had some health challenges too, and had some issues with polynephritis and some chronic illness. And pushing through that, I didn't want to be labeled. I said, I am who I am despite X, XYZ, whatever it was. And for me, it was symptoms of a well-known autoimmune disease, but they could never, no matter how many CAT scans and spinal taps and everything I went through, they could never fully diagnose it. So I was diagnosed with the symptoms of it and treated for it, 12, 20 pills a day, pills for the side effects of other pills, vitamins for the side effects of that pill, just a number of things.
Hold on, wait a minute. Did you say what I think you said, like 20 plus pills? And
yes, ma'am.
Girl, for
yes,
this and
ma'am.
that, and they really,
yep.
Girl, okay,
yep.
let's just take it back. Wait a second, because you are the poster child for resilience in so many ways, from a house fire, from having to bounce back after job loss and being treated like crapola, and lied about, and still held your head up high and bounced back and did what you needed to do. And even before that, you had to study and restudy and study again, as I do. And then valedictorian, don't think that we just kind of Pat, no, I heard all of that. I just let you go because it was so interesting. I didn't want to stop. Valedictorian in high school and 27 moves. I don't even like to move. I've moved a couple of times and I don't like it. I don't like packing. I don't like moving. I don't like none of it. 27 times and having to find friends again, and then being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease and just given all kinds of happy pills, just here, take this, take that, whatever. And the list goes on and on. You are the poster child for resilience. And in that, before we even say another word, Instagram and social media is blowing up, and I don't want to lose anything or go too far. And they're they're talking about, and then being resilient and having to go through 3 deaths in a short amount of time, and that's deep, a mourning of identity, and oh my, and that's harsh victimization, not your end all be all. And yes, definitely union saved employees welfare all the time, especially if it in an unjust situation. Girl, they are blowing up this chat for you. I'm just like, yes, and I know I see value in there. I know I'm reading value. Maybe I just missed it, but I know we're commenting on value in here tonight, right, everybody? I'm sure. So, girl, from now on, when I talk resilience and I talk about moving forward after grief, I'm just going to say, Connie. And we're just going to talk about you, because there's one thing about talking about it, and then there's another thing about backing it up with a real life person that's telling the story, because we all know we go through things in life. It's for a story. It's part of who we are. It's part of our purpose in life, and it's part of us being resilient. And it doesn't happen unintentionally. Even the house fire, it wasn't meant for you to be in it. You were going to get a book to help you study in the middle of the rain and everything. God bless you, because I would have been like, yeah, I need to do that, but I ain't going out in this. But
And
you
Sonia,
did.
even the firefighter said, whatever made you leave, thank God you left, because more than likely I would have been at home on the computer when lightning struck the house.
Ugh.
That could have killed me. Who knows? Who knows? I would have likely been at my computer, plugged into the wall when it hit, all that surged through the house, caught everything. I may not be here today had I been home when that happened. And that's the gratefulness of the lens that I just look through. I have two more little things.
Go
So,
ahead.
reinvention isn't movement necessarily. It's not mastery. I didn't have the full roadmap when I was walking through everything I was walking through, but I just kept walking. And you don't have to have it figured out to just start becoming your new resilient self. You just step one foot in front of the other, one thing at a time. I'm actually working to write a memoir that just kind of recaps my life. And I have a little bit that you guys are going to get a VIP preview.
Yes, bring it.
Just to kind of bring this home, I thought I'd, just drop a little something special. So, y'all better not go stealing this and stuff, because it's on my podcast. It's my written material. So anyway, I'm just going to sum up how I feel like this just sums up my life. And so I'm just going to read it from my book so far. But
Please do.
I said, the child who lived on military bases learned to adapt to be the new girl again and again, still smiling wide in each unfamiliar room. The girl who spent more time in hospitals than on playdates learned what it meant to see people in their pain. The teenager with symptoms no one could identify learned what it meant to feel invisible pain and to persevere with no guarantees. The young woman who sifted through her ashes of her childhood learned what truly matters can't be bought or burned. The professional who left toxic culture behind learned how to protect her peace and walk with discernment. The woman who crossed the finish line, healed, whole, and stronger than ever, learned how to live loud in gratitude and bold in faith.
Yeah, amen. Girl, oh my goodness. Why you got me over here with the onions? Oh my gosh. That was so profound. That was so deep. I mean, you can't help but get the watery eyes. I mean, you summed up your life, girl, brilliantly. I mean, you're phenomenal. You really and truly are. You keep holding your head up high. You don't never let anybody, and I know you know this, try to bring you down or say anything to you. And at the same time, like I say, adjust that crown, come what may, strut your stuff down that runway. And while you're strutting and shaking, shake from the back and remember that boss, that tried
Well,
to, instigate the negativity, but people were able to see through that once you opened your mouth and showed that the person that you truly are. So you are phenomenal. And I know that this chat is just burning up again. So let's go back in here and let's see what they said. Value. Oh my Lord. God guidance is with you, Connie. That's spectacular. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, people know, people appreciate, you are so valuable. And there was a reason for us to have that conversation. There's a reason why you're here today. You got big bold letters, special guest Connie Corbett. Like, it don't say nothing about the Sonya Dungee podcast, because even though the name is the Sonya Dungee podcast, it's about all of us. This is a platform for all of us. And today it was meant for you. It was meant for you to come on. It was meant for you to tell your incredible, amazing story. And I absolutely adore you. I mean, girl, I love you. I feel like I've known you forever. I truly do. You really and truly have a place in my heart. And you just really just put the icing on the cake with your memoir, that little part that you read that summed it up. I wish you the very best. And when you write that memoir, you definitely have to come back on, you know, and this is just the beginning. I'm so proud of you. Tell us about your podcast. Like, tell us how we find you. I want to know the date, the time. Tell it. I know, but let them know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm just going to say thank you so much. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and LinkedIn as well. So Facebook, I am Constance Korblick. YouTube at Connie Korblick. So just like it is on my little name plaque up there. Instagram at Connie Korblick as well. LinkedIn, it is Connie Korblick there as well. You can see kind of I do some unicorn energy affirmations daily. Check those out, like, share, repost them. And then my email, if anyone wants to email me, share in their career challenges or just resilience or stories of grief, I'm happy to speak with them and email them as well. It's going to be my first and last name at gmail.com. Very simple. Podcast is Saturdays, every Saturday, live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And it is 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So that'd be 11 Eastern. So yes, come check it out. Come see me, like, follow, subscribe.
Yes, and I'm sure they will. Because, like I said, the way that you present your podcast, it is like you've been doing it forever. You say it with so much confidence, so much poise. And like I said, and the visualization is there. And like I said, if thinks they might have missed something, or you really want them to catch what you're saying, that boat is a sailing through on the waves, and it, and your voice is very soothing, but you're just able to like really captivate the audience, and you have us honing in and like, what is she going to say next, what is she going to say next?
Well,
So
thank
thank you.
you.
You're welcome, my little unicorn family member. And like I said, there's a bit of everything in my family. They used to call me
Yes.
United Nations in high school, but now I can say we got a unicorn too. So
Absolutely.
make sure that you catch Connie on her various social media. And I'm looking forward to your masterclass. Not putting you on the spot, but I'm looking forward to when you have your masterclass. I will be right there front and center as you were tonight on the Boss Masterclass as well. But I have one more thing before
Okay.
we go. Okay. So
Okay.
I always ask my guests, this I do ask. Can you please finish the sentence? Always be destined for blank. What would that be?
Brilliance.
Oh,
Always be destined for brilliance.
yes.
Show up and sparkle.
Oh, shoot. Show up and sparkle as a unicorn. You got that,
Yes.
everybody?
Yes.
Love that. That's a new one for me. Absolutely, positively love that. I want to thank you once again for joining. You could have done anything else for the last 2 hours plus than hanging out with me in the Boss Masterclass. And then again, my apologies for being a little bit late, but I'm not really sorry at all, because we were on that Boss Masterclass that we invited you all to, and it ran over a little bit, but that was okay because the message was delivered and it's never going to be rushed. And I knew that you amazing, wonderful, phenomenal people were going to be right here waiting as you were. I want to thank you. And before we jump off, I just want to go back once again to the comments that are left. We don't want anybody to feel as if they weren't heard. Um, we have thank yous. Okay, nice. We'll put the time on the day. Okay, nice. We'll put the time on day on my calendar. Greatness. Love it. Wait, we got more. Appreciate you all. Thank you, Sonya and Connie. You were both brilliant. Love it, love it, love you. Thank you so much for your comments. I want to thank you all for joining. I see some new guests that joined for the first time tonight. Thank you once again. Remember that the Sonya Dungee podcast goes live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. EST. If we're not at 8 o'clock, just wait and watch. We'll be there shortly thereafter. But that is our time slot every single Wednesday without fail. We have a new masterclass that will be coming up the beginning of May. I will start giving you information shortly. And for those of you who joined, or if you signed up for tonight's masterclass, I promise you, you will receive the recording. That is your gift. Connie, once again, God bless you so much. Stay inspired. Stay in touch, because we definitely will be having you on here once again. And keep doing what it is that you are doing. And for the rest of you, stay safe, stay well. God bless you all. And remember, always be destined for greatness. Your greatness, your very best. Bye for now.